You're talking to her. It's going fine. Then it happens.
So like, alright, like if alright, so like if alright, so if you alright, so alright, so if you alright, so okay, alright, so alright, so alright, so if you alright, so if alright, if alright, so if
You start scanning your brain for something, anything, to say next. The moment is dying right in front of you. This has probably happened to you more than once, not just with someone new. Sometimes it happens with someone you've known for months. The conversation runs dry and you're left wondering what's wrong with you. Here's the truth. Nothing is wrong with you. You were never taught how conversation actually works. Nobody sits you down and explains it. You just guess your way through it and hope for the best. That's why it feels random. That's why some nights you're smooth and other nights you're stuck. Think about it. School teaches you math, history, maybe a second language. Nobody ever runs a class on how to keep a conversation alive with someone you're attracted to. So you piece it together from movies, from watching other guys, from trial and error that usually ends in more error than trial. It's no wonder it feels like a mystery. Once you understand what's actually happening under the surface, running out of things to say becomes almost impossible. Let's get into it. Talking isn't the skill you think it is. Most guys assume that being good with words means having more to say. Bigger stories, better jokes, sharper comebacks. So they focus all their energy on their own material, on what they're going to say next, on sounding impressive. That's the wrong target completely. Conversation isn't a performance where you deliver lines. It's an exchange. And the moment you treat it like a performance, you start focusing inward, on yourself, on how you're coming across, instead of focusing outward on her. That inward focus is exactly what makes you run dry, because you're pulling everything from your own head instead of pulling it from what's actually happening between the two of you. This is the first change. Stop trying to have more to say. Start paying more attention to what's already being said. Once you make this change, you stop feeling nervous about running dry, because you're no longer relying on some internal well of material that could run empty at any second. You're pulling from her, from the moment, from what's actually in front of you. That source never runs out, because there's always something more to ask about, always another layer to a person if you're actually paying attention. The question that keeps everything moving. Here's something simple that changes everything. Almost every dead conversation dies because of flat responses. She tells you something. You respond with one word. The energy drops. Silence creeps in. Say she mentions she just got back from a trip. A flat response sounds like, "Oh, nice, that's it," dead end. Now picture asking instead, "What made you visit that place?" Or, "Was it what you expected?" Or, "What was the best experience?" Suddenly there's somewhere to go. She has to think, she has to share more, and that gives you more material to work with. This is not about interrogating her. It's about being genuinely curious enough to ask one more layer down. Every topic has layers. Most people stop at the surface. The people who never run out of things to say are the ones who keep digging one question deeper. And here's the part most guys miss. The one asking the questions is usually the one steering the conversation, not by talking the most, but by deciding where it goes next. That's a quiet kind of control, and it puts you in charge of the flow without ever needing to dominate the talking. You'll notice this in any conversation that flows well. It's rarely the person talking the most who's driving it. It's the person asking the questions that pull it forward. That's a small thing to notice, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every good conversation is really just a chain. Question leading to answer, leading to another question. Whoever keeps that chain moving is the one in control of where it ends up. You're probably not actually listening. This one stings a little, but it needs saying. Most people think they're listening when really they're just waiting for a gap, waiting for their turn. Half their brain is on what she's saying, and the other half is drafting a response, a story, a joke to slide in next. The problem is, when you're doing that, you miss things. You miss the small detail she mentioned in passing that could have been the perfect follow-up. You miss the change in her tone that tells you something actually matters to her. You end up saying something that technically responds to her words but completely misses what she was actually getting at. Real listening means putting all your attention on her, not part of it. It means letting go of the need to have your next line ready. It sounds harder than it is. Once you stop rehearsing your response, you free up space to actually hear her, and that's when the good material shows up. There's an old saying that fits perfectly here. Most people don't listen to understand. They listen to reply. That's the trap. Break out of it, and you'll notice conversations start giving you far more to work with than you ever expected. Try this the next time you're talking to someone. For one full conversation, ban yourself from planning your next sentence while she's still speaking. Just take in what she's saying, all of it. It'll feel strange at first, almost like you're not doing enough. But you'll notice your responses get sharper and more relevant, because they're actually built from what she said instead of from whatever you had loaded up beforehand. Find the thread you both already share. Every long, easy conversation you've ever had one thing in common. Somewhere in there, you found something you both cared about, a show you both watched, a place you both love, a way of seeing something that lined up. That overlap is where conversation stops feeling like work. You're not manufacturing interest anymore. You're both just talking about something you're genuinely into. That's the difference between a conversation that drags and one that flies. Sometimes that overlap shows up fast. Other times you have to look for it. That's what the questions and the listening are actually for. You're not just filling silence, you're scanning for the thread that connects you both. The moment you find it, follow it. Let the conversation live there for a while before moving on. That's where connection actually forms. Don't rush past it either. A lot of guys find the shared thread and then immediately jump to a new topic, almost like they're afraid to stay too long on one thing. Resist that urge. When you find something you both light up about, stay there. Ask more about it. Share your own take on it. That's the part of the conversation she'll actually remember afterward. Silence isn't the enemy you think it is. Somewhere along the way, silence got a bad reputation. A pause happens, and it feels like the whole conversation is collapsing. Your instinct is to fill it immediately with whatever comes to mind, even if it's forced or random. Silence isn't proof that something's wrong. It's just space. Two people who are comfortable together can sit in a pause without it meaning anything bad. The discomfort you feel in silence usually comes from you, not from her. She might not even notice it the way you do. The more you chase every silence with forced words, the more anxious and unnatural you'll come across. The more you let a pause exist without panicking, the calmer and more grounded you'll seem. That calmness is attractive on its own, separate from anything you actually say. Next time a pause hits, try something different. Don't rush to fill it. Just let it sit for a second or two. Take a breath. Smile if it feels natural. You'll find that most pauses fix themselves within a few seconds. Either she picks the thread back up or you think of something real to add, not something forced just to kill the silence. Either way, you come out of it looking steady instead of scrambling. Stop trying to be interesting. This might be the most important point of all. Somewhere along the way, most guys get it backwards. They think the goal is to be interesting, to have the best stories, to say something clever enough that she's hooked. Flip that completely. The goal is not to be interesting. The goal is to be interested. When you're genuinely curious about her, about what she thinks, what she's into, what her week has been like, the conversation basically runs itself. You don't need clever lines because you're not trying to impress her with material. You're just responding to a real person in front of you, one question and one thought at a time. This takes the pressure off completely. You stop needing the perfect thing to say because there is no perfect thing to say. There's just the next honest question, the next genuine reaction, the next moment of actually paying attention. It also changes how she experiences talking to you. Most people can tell when someone's performing for them versus when someone's actually engaged with them. Performance feels like effort, even when it's smooth. Genuine interest feels different. It feels like being seen. And being seen is rare enough that it stands out far more than any clever line ever could. Putting it together. None of this requires being naturally charming or having a stockpile of stories ready to go. It requires 3 simple habits. Ask questions that go one layer deeper instead of settling for the surface. Listen with your full attention instead of waiting for your turn. Look for the thread you both actually share and follow it when you find it. Do those 3 things consistently, and running out of things to say stops being a problem because you stop needing to manufacture things to say in the first place. The conversation starts feeding itself. Give it time, too. This is not something that clicks perfectly on the first try. You'll still catch yourself half listening sometimes or forgetting to ask that one deeper question. That's fine. Skill sticks the more you use it, the same way you'd get better at anything else you practiced on purpose instead of by accident. Some conversations will still hit a dead patch here and there. That's normal. Even the easiest talkers hit quiet moments. The difference is you won't panic when it happens. You'll know silence isn't failure, and you'll know exactly how to pick the thread back up when you're ready. Try this the next time you're talking to her. Ask one question deeper than you normally would. Actually listen to the answer instead of planning your reply. Notice where your interests overlap and stay there a little longer. Small changes, but they add up fast. The guys who never run out of things to say aren't smarter or funnier than everyone else. They just stopped focusing on themselves and started focusing on her. That's the whole point. Make it, and you'll never sit in that dead silence wondering what to say again. You don't need a script memorized word for word. You don't need a mental list of backup topics for emergencies. You just need 3 habits running in the background every time you talk to her. Ask one layer deeper, actually listen, and follow the thread you both share. Everything else takes care of itself. See you next time.